Welcome to WYCD Wicked, that stands for What You Can Do. My name's Jake, and this is going to be a fun one. Sort of. Given the circumstances, pretty fun. Good to see y'all. Good to see you all. Let's say hi to the Wicked gang. Pinkerbell, hello. Saucy Sea Witch, hello. Good to see you. Wicked Foxy Dragon, hello. Wireless Mike, good to see you, my friend. Richard Hinckley. I saw the Anticorporatus in there. Yes, indeed. Hello, an environmental coffee house. How you doing, Sandy? To everyone who's watching and not chatting, hello to you as well. Quick explanation: Malcolm XT is basically just a tremendous amount of nutmeg in water. Don't drink it. Don't drink it. Pot's legal in places most people can get to. Just do that. But it is making do with what you have at hand. You see, Malcolm X to give himself the giggles while he was in prison for fighting the good fight, famously made that nutmeg god-awful concoction. And it's an example of social justice warriors striving and as I said, making do with what they had on hand. That's what we have to do until we get the big victory in 2024. And hence the name of this particular stream, Malcolm XT. Yeah, I do want to say in the video that dropped earlier, there is one. Oh, what the heck? I show it now. There's in the supercut of me scramming from Left Past 10. There is one shot of Matt that makes me laugh every time, and it makes me glad that Left Past 10 was designed from the ground up as a remote show, because I'm pretty sure if he would have been in my town, he would have driven to my apartment and actually punched me in the mouth after I ducked on him during one of those. See if you could identify which one I'm pretty sure Matt wanted to hit me in. It was a heck of a lot of fun. All right. First up, well, we got a trip to New Zealand planned. I noticed something about a problem they're enduring now, and it's an opportunity they have to avoid the tragic fate of the USA. Let's talk about it. Came across a channel called Paul, the other one, and I immediately liked the name. Turns out he's a reasonable political commentator from New Zealand, and he was discussing a problem that New Zealand has now. And I'll tell you, it's what America had about 10 years ago. Actually, it's what America had one last chance to deal with about 10 years ago before we regressed, went backwards. And that is systematic racism. Now we've actually lost ground. God help us. So we're gonna for our friends in New Zealand, we're gonna discuss the problem. I'll give my perspective from what it's like when you fail to address the problem, and then we'll talk about how we can all lift ourselves up.
Hello there, kia ora. Do you know what a 1988 ministerial advisory group once called the most insidious and destructive form of racism in this country? I'll give you a clue. It's not slurs, it's not physical attacks. It's actually something that still happens to this day. That there are political parties in power in government at the moment that are actively trying to enforce it, and there's outside organizations that are trying to control the dialogue around race in this country who are promoting this insidious ideology. It's institutional racism. See, institutional racism is the outcome of monocultural organizations that have developed over time that ignore or freeze out cultures of those that don't belong to a dominant group within society. It creates a differential access to resources and power and it leads to inequitable outcomes for those marginalized groups within society. So much research has been done on that in this country, particularly around the health system. There's so much that you can find in a range of places like university libraries as well as online. Denying it, though, denying the existence of this is a barrier to equality because it allows for victim blaming explanations of systemic inequality.
So this is where I was going to say this is where things went wrong in USA. This is one of the many times things went wrong, and we here in the United States failed to handle it. It's. You remember people joking about SJWs? Oh, SJW, here we go. Before that, it was people joking about tree huggers. This sort of thing, where we allow the culture to shift towards jokes that are a cowardly defense of racism. I say a cowardly defense because they're not quite on the nose. It's things like, oh, you can't say anything anymore. But what they fail to shed light on is when somebody is saying that, it's generally in response to I tried to say the N-word and people got angry. I tried to use the F slur and people got angry. Oh, you can't say anything. Oh, I didn't mean it like that. I was just using it generally. I notice that the folks we tend to argue with are not particularly brave, which means they rely on turning the heat up slowly and taking advantage of the fact that all people are a little bit dumb, including lefties. We'll forget that we are in danger. We'll forget that things can get bad. We'll experience half a generation of upward progress. And even though we will be made up of a significant number of folks that saw things go up and down, we'll all allow ourselves to think, well, we won't slide backward. And then you'll elect Trump. Then people will be complaining about DEI. Then books get burned. Then you can't teach about slavery. Civil War becomes the war of northern aggression. That's what happens. Here's Hall. No, not that one, the other one. Warning you, New Zealand. That's what's happening right now. Denial of structural racism. Now, if you find your country has structural racism, my condolences, but it's not your fault. It might not even be the fault of anyone involved, theoretically. It just happens. The actual sin here is failure to deal with it. Having high cholesterol, not a thing that makes you suicidal. Refusal to deal with high cholesterol when the doctor informs you that you have it. That changes things. Be on the lookout for this. And take a page out of, brace yourselves, the American radical right. They do not let their representatives, in whatever form they take, get away with doing anything but vehement support of the things the American radical right believes in. The American radical left, on the other hand, does frequently throw our hands up and say, these people are against us. We are unlearning that terrible behavior. You guys can skip ahead in the line. You guys can look at America and say, there's another country. Look how backward it is now. This is what we will become if we refuse to deal with this. So deal with it. Deal with it. Let's let Paul keep breaking it down. I like this guy. He's interesting and he's concise, unlike your old pal Jake.
And it allows those that are pushing for the status quo for that racism to continue to deny any responsibility for the continued effects of systemic racism. A 2022 study done by the American Psychological Association shows that people who deny or advocate for these systems with entrenched systemic racism built into them are less likely to show racial empathy or openness to diversity. And in this country, we've got a number of organisations who do this, like NZCPR, the Taxpayers Union, ACT, New Zealand First, National, the Free Speech Union, and Hobson's Pledge. They all argue the idea that there should be equal resources given to everyone and everyone has the same footing, but it ignores
Unfinished.
systemic institutional racism at its.
You're in New Zealand. Make a note of all those examples he just gave. They've demonstrated who they are now. Don't give them 30 more chances to prove they don't have your best interests in mind. They've already demonstrated that. At a minimum, what they have demonstrated is they're too dumb to be trusted with anything. Let's be kind to them and say they're too dumb to be trusted with anything. The reality, I suspect, is that they are just straight up evil. I'm not using that term as hyperbole. I mean it. Truly evil. But let's be kind. Let's be generous here and just assume they're dumb. When you see these organizations connected to anything, when you see these names turn up again, bring this up and shut down the conversation. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is a study from who now? Find out. New Zealand First? This is a study from New Zealand First. They're showing you. Okay, so these are going to be lies or skewed truth. There's a different kind of lies. Hobson's Pledge, Free Speech Union, have a feeling. Atlas Network, I have a feeling. You'll find a hell of a lot of skeletons in their closet. Anytime you see somebody referring to these things, inform them quickly that they are misinformed.
Its core. Whereas trying to deal with that particular racism and those particular issues that it increases leads to much more equitable outcomes for everybody. And so when you get an organization like NZCPR, for example, that are pushing a really specific ideology, to call them racist isn't necessarily because they're there using things like racial slurs or out there, I don't know, graffitiing buildings about it, but it's because they're trying to entrench racially segregating systems that go out of their way to keep one particular group in society marginalized while promoting the outlooks of a dominant group within society. So for all those people who were watching my video the other day who made comments like this, going, wow, you called them racist, so that doesn't count, I just want to point out a couple of things. One, they are pushing racist ideologies. Two, I'm not the only one who says it, they have a history of this. And three, by promoting and ignoring what it is that they're actually pushing, you are actually complicit in pushing that kind of ideology yourself. You might not necessarily consider yourself a racist, most people don't, but taking a look at those particular ideologies that are designed to keep one group of society down while promoting another, that's racism.
Well, why is it not going out? Here we go. Well, good news is we caught it early, this cancer. New Zealand, you got some organizations poisoning the minds of your folks. And I promise you, the Jacinda Ardern's of the world, I know she's not there anymore, but still, the political class she represents won't deal with it. The centrists have been trained by the worst of the worst for the last 2 generations to be conservative. And you are now dealing with radicals. Here's how they're conservative. They make deals with conservatives that heavily favor the conservatives. And when your conservatives turn radical, that means they make deals with radical conservatives that put you back in terms of progress. New Zealand, you're doing great right now. You just had another season of Taskmaster New Zealand come out, and they knocked it out of the park. Peter Jackson, Made a bunch of great movies, culturally significant around the world these days. And since, I don't know, when did Jackson start? Like the 80s. Your energy production is up. A lot of great things about New Zealand. Don't spoil it. Don't let it become like the United States, which spends the majority of its finite resources battling itself in a passive aggressive Cold War between oligarchs. Don't let that happen to you. It's not something that is sustainable for a country. But fortunately, there is something you can do about it. There's a link in the description, New Zealanders, that will allow you to contact your ministers of parliament. Contact them. Tell them, quite simply, you expect them to address systematic racism just like any other problems. It doesn't matter if they're conservative. It doesn't matter if they're somehow Klansmen. Tell them that's what you expect, so they know that the cultural winds are not in their favor. Set the tone. Let them know where the bar is, and even if they're going to try to lower it, don't let them think it's already in the dirt, my friends. It's Paul, the other one. Pretty good channel. I went through a couple of his videos. I will admit a bias though, and petty though it is. Just hearing anyone from New Zealand speak brings me joy. Brings me joy. Would watch the Flight of the Conchords even if it was not funny, and it's hilarious. Watch it anyway because accent. Rex Trek, yeah, give him a why I oughta. Absolutely. Saucy Sea Witch. Actually, it may be more proper to say, don't be a Denethor. Interesting. Interesting. Donald James, hello. And I saw that you are a member of many, and something was frustrating to you, but I can't see the other message. Oh, I have top chat on is a nonsensical feature on YouTube. I give, but let me go see if I can address this. Oh, well gone. Well, I'll look through the live chat. So many channels on at the same time, but I choose here. Oh, thank you. I do genuinely appreciate that, and I'll say this. I focus on the live show. It's good. It's a good thing for multiple, particularly lefty channels to be on at once, but it can only help. It's a good problem to have, and if you feel that you got to support, who's that bum? Matt Binder. That's fine. Actually, we're gonna raid him after this. I have a feeling Leftist Mafia is going to go on for a good long time. And it's also good to populate the videos after the fact with comments and such. I did find something from YouTube lately that I'm not a fan of. This is the first time in a long time that YouTube has rolled out a feature where I was like, oh, come on. And that is they now offer paid promotions. Lame. Lame. I'm going to redouble my efforts to stream to Twitch. Ironically, I'm not doing that right now, but I'm going to my own private way, or my own semi-public way, make a stand there, and now treat Twitch with nearly as much care as YouTube, because I don't care for that new feature. Just not good. Not good. Gives an advantage to people who have money to throw around, which means your content will skew towards people that have money to throw around, and it will be worse content in my humble opinion. Oh, yeah. Everybody is streaming at the same time. Donald James X, even on Twitch. I can't be everywhere at the same time. Yeah, I hear you. Oh, mercy me. Let's talk about Senator Langford. Really hoping that would be a smoother transition. Let's talk about Senator Langford. One of the finest things about a party collapsing, if you dislike the party, and in America there's two to choose from, is that they infight. They infight. Like the Whigs going down fighting about slavery. Not too far off in terms of the inspiration. Republicans are currently fighting over a border bill. You see, some of them genuinely, they're true believers. You know, they have principles. They're terrible principles that would make the devil blush, but they are principles. Like, for example, keeping all brown people out of America. Some of them are really trying to make it happen, you know, and others are just interested in doing political stunts. Here's what I'm talking about.
Before they knew.
This is
some of them they have policy.
Okay. This is Senator Langford talking about kind of resistance he's getting from his masters in the mainstream media. See, he wanted to put a bill forward that would have really shut down the U.S. border to the south, where the Browns come from, you understand. But unfortunately for him, other folks in his party were more interested in screwing over Joe Biden's re-election chances and were willing to do nothing about the border in order to say that nothing got done about the border under Biden. Here he is talking about somebody in the media who laid it out for him. I think it was Hannity.
Some of them may have policy differences. Some of them have been very clear with me. They have political differences with the bill. They say it's the wrong time to solve the problem, or let the presidential election solve this problem. In fact, I had a popular commentator 4 weeks ago that I talked to that told me flat out, before they knew any of the contents of the bill, nothing was out at that point, that told me flat out, if you try to move a bill that solves the border crisis during this presidential year, I will do whatever I can to destroy you. Because I do not want you to solve this during the presidential election. By the way, they have been faithful to their promise and have done everything they can to destroy me in the past several weeks. Some of them may have...
Well, that's awkward, isn't it? That's probably, links in the description, that's probably a good clip to show folks who pretend to be voting Republican because they want to do things. Because they actually pretend like they understand what the situation at the border is and that they want to do something about it. Now, odds are they're going to look for excuses to be on the side of the person that wanted to screw over the Joe Biden election. But it's your opportunity to call them out for hypocrisy. Wait a minute. You're so dedicated to disliking Biden, you won't even let him do the thing you want? You're so sure that the Democrats are against everything you believe in that you won't let them do things you believe in. Sounds like there's something else going on with you. And if you were lying to me about what your intentions are, about the way you think a country ought to be run, I'd like to know why. But if you were lying to yourself, then you should probably ask yourself why. My suspicion, hypothetical friend that I'm talking to, that you don't actually know how any of this works, but you just think Republicans ought to be in charge of it. Ask yourself, you don't know how any of it works. What are the odds that you're actually correct about who should be in charge of it? However, you want to get more done directly. What I actually recommend, I will a couple more times tonight, that you contact your representatives. Share that Twitter link with them. Share that clip from Senator Langford. Tell them, do not make deals with these people. Stop embarrassing me. Stop embarrassing America. Stop embarrassing yourself. I'm experiencing secondhand embarrassment when you make deals with these people. These people are not to be trusted. These people have no good in mind for everybody. I'm not interested in a half-evil deal. You will lose a little bit of my support every time I hear that you shook hands with a Nazi. In a better world, you would have lost it all the moment you tried to work with these rat. But as of now, you're amongst the best choices we have, God help us. You don't have an infinite amount of slack to work with. I keep seeing you deal with these people. I'm not going to be able to tell you apart when it comes time to vote, and I will write in Mickey Mouse rather than vote in another collaborator. That is a pretty good thing to let your representatives know. Let's see what the wicked community has to say. Eliel, hello. The moral hypocrisy and political corruption of the GOP is a long-standing historical fact. Yes. And we should just start being frank about it with everybody we talk to. There's just no good. I've seen so many people say things like, oh, but we need a strong GOP. No, we don't. Why would we need a strong set of people that want horrible things to happen to folks? No, the GOP is a destructive force. Don't treat them like, well, we're all got to get together and lend our unique perspectives to blah, blah, blah. No, we don't. Their perspective is sinister. Don't compromise with a sinister person is by definition going to be half corrupt, a half sinister. It's no good. Rex Trek, they're nuts on X. I troll those mother effers. Good job, Rex Trek. Wireless Mike, I hope Biden makes a statement about trying to make concessions to Republicans, and they still won't do the work of governing, so no more spending to their will. Yeah, I hope so. I wish after they tanked some of the best proposed legislation that would have genuinely helped Americans after they used to keep several million children out of poverty. I wish that would have been the moment he decided, oh, I'm going to grow up. But now's a good time. Really, any time. Any time is better than later. Rex Trek, this boomer has had it. Yeah. The stupidity has reached full tilt. Yeah. Good to see you, Eliel. Yes, indeed. Wireless Mike. Well, let me jump. Something that is actually a little bit inspiring. Jake, why? Why have you done this? Baby boy, no. There we go. One day, one day, I'm gonna have a totally smooth show, and I'm gonna be freaked out because I won't know what's going on. Here we go, new segment. Believe it or not, there is such a thing in 2024 as good news. I know. Weird, right? Tastes strange after so long without it. But there is such a good thing as good news still. We have a report from Europe about how 2023 went energy-wise. Yeah, it is. European Electricity Review 2023. I know, really thrilling stuff. Hope they use cookies. They just go ahead and say no to that. Ember's analysis of the EU electricity transition in 2022. What happened in 2022? What can we expect for 2023? Son of a gun. Oh, this is from last year, God help me. But nonetheless, still good news, still useful as a political tool. Let's talk about it. I promise you it didn't get worse. The European Electricity Review Analysis. Full year electricity generation demand data for bop, 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 bop. Oh, I hate everything. Well, let me just give you the log line. Europe's political response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022 was to accelerate its electricity transition. Now there is a focus on rapidly cutting gas demand, at the same time phasing out coal. This means a massive scale-up in clean energy is on its way. In 2022, wind and solar generated a record fifth of EU electricity, 22%, for the first time, overtaking fossil gas, 20%, and remaining above coal power. So that's the main thing. In 2022, wind and solar generated more for Europe than fossil gas did or coal power did. Well, what's the significance? I'll tell you. We don't have to rely on people becoming saints in order to do the right thing. I'm okay with us convincing people to do the right thing for the wrong reasons. Here's a hypothetical. Imagine you find somebody that has $900 million and you show them a way that they can reduce our fossil fuel consumption by half. But they'll get $2 billion for it. Take the deal. Give them the $2 billion. I don't like billionaires. I don't think they should exist. But I think it's more important that we cut our fossil fuel use by that much. But we can do more practical things than that. It's also not important that your representatives see you as a saint. In fact, I think it's sometimes healthy that they don't see you as a saint. Saints are intimidating. Saints seem like they'd be hard to please, you know? How are you ever going to be good enough that you'll please a saint? All you can do is hope that around election time you do one thing that sets you apart from the devil you're running against and trust that you'll get the saints' vote. But here's the thing. Even if you are an anointed one, you don't have to come at these people, your representatives, from a morally high position to get them to do a morally correct thing. You can share that report, say, just like your old pal Jake, I just came across this. It found its way through the algorithm, and I find now we're more than a year behind Europe. The U.S. used to be the leader in things, and we're still using old-timey liquid fuels. We're still using smelly, dirty, old-fashioned fuels. When Europe got more of its electricity cheaper and more efficiently. Boy, that doesn't make me feel very proud to be an American. Boy, I actually want to be competitive. I actually take some pride in where I'm from. I want my representative to as well. How dare you let us fall behind? How dare you let us plunk together rocks like cave people? We should be having solar panels everywhere. We should be having more of our electricity generated from renewable resources than Europe. No offense, Europe, but you guys are the knights and Fletchers and very, very old-fashioned folks. In our perspective, we should be competitive. Write your representatives. Point this out. And if you're looking for an angle to attract their interest in, you're looking to coach them a little bit about how they might sell this to the American people. Competition's a good way to do it. How come Europeans get cheaper electricity? How come they get better electricity than we do? Simple as that. It's better electricity. Costs them less. It doesn't cause their state to burn in the summer. How come Europe's whooping our ass? Fix that. In your state, tell your governor, I want you to fund people putting solar panels on their houses. I want you to give businesses tax breaks to pay for the solar panels. It's basically going to be a 1-to-1. You get free, cheaper electricity. You're an idiot, sure, businessman. You can keep on powering your business for more money, or you could take these free solar panels from the government. Talk to your state representatives, have them propose such a bill. Talk to your governor, make sure they're going to sign such a bill. Talk to your representatives at the national level. Tell them you want a program that any state can choose to take part in that will provide free solar electricity and solar power and wind power. And in addition, we can do a double whammy. We can offer the opportunity for states to deny it. You can say all a governor has to do is ask to be part of the program. And if they ask to be part of the program, then their people get free solar panels. If they don't, their people don't get the deal. Here's a fun piece of politics. Make them ask for green energy. It's very doable. You just have to contact your representative and ask them for it. Links in the description. Gang, let's see what you had to say. The Mike's Dead Show. Good to see you, my friend. National production of electricity is hard to beat when you are a state. It is. But I'll tell you what's neat. Everybody can give a tax break. You're paying for a solar panel then with money that was never in your hands to begin with. You give tax breaks to businesses if they install solar panels. You're accomplishing two things. Number one, you are getting those panels built by the businesses, installed by the businesses. Number two, they're purchasing by necessity from a business which must then operate in your state. So even though you're giving that back to one business in the form of a tax break, you're stimulating the economy because somewhere a solar panel company will be paid to install those things. And those workers will be then paid to work for the day. If there's a giant bill that gets passed saying all businesses can do this if they so choose, those companies are going to hire a bunch of people because they will all want to get in on the gold rush. Oh, by the way, a third thing you're accomplishing. Those businesses that have solar panels on their roofs, all of a sudden, when they sell those buildings, those solar panels aren't going anywhere. So the next person will have solar panels on their roofs, and they'll have the ability to decide, do I want to pay more or less for electricity? Do I want to go to the expense of removing these solar panels in order to pay more money for my electricity? Or will I just turn the motherfuckers on and save some money? Wet my beak. Infrastructure being built. Completely doable. Just requires there to be the political will for such a thing to happen. Saucy Sea Witch, tell them it can be a game to see how many times they reach $1 billion instead of a game to make unrealistic numbers. It's all a game to them, so we need to change the rules. I like that. Got a lot. The anti-corporatists, the things that are holding up solar right now are the utilities. Yeah, the utilities, but because they talk to our politicians more than we do. They really can't. They have no authority. They have no official authority. They have only corruption on their side. But if there is a an upswell of people saying, "Hey, this is a good bill. Pass it in my state. Pass it across the nation." Then the utilities will have the at least the unenviable job of having to say no to such. Tinkerbell, Texas gets a lot of its power from wind. Yeah, we should use that as an example. We should absolutely use that as an example. Something in the chat just now is the system I've been using to look through PPP loan takers. It's been remarkably difficult to find these governors' businesses there, but I just want to let you know I'm doing it. I'm going through the list you guys provided. Thank you for that. It's going to take a while. I think you have to put the exact name in there. If anybody else finds themselves in possession of knowledge that one of these things definitely did take PPP loans, do let me know. There's 3 events here. First, finding out that the governor owns a business. Second, in that resource, finding the governor's business has indeed taken a PPP loan. Third, well, it's the inevitable, but finding out that they scammed the government. Working on it. Again, it's going to be a lengthy project. That's the word I was looking for. But that is what I'm doing when I'm not editing videos, coming up with the main show. On a related note, that does it for WYCD Wicked this Thursday. Let's go on to not Left Past 10. What's that other one? The lesser group show of leftists. It's not quite as entertaining. Leftist Mafia. I'm gonna end this stream by diving into Binders. If that's not for you, I understand. I'll see you around. But otherwise, y'all have a good one. Oh, this has been WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. My name's Jake.